Hello, everyone. Welcome to the Horror Room. I'm Travis Bruce, and today we're doing another indie horror spotlight. Today, I have with us a director of a fun movie that I had a chance to watch. That's called Horny Teenagers Must Die. I have the director, Dave Zakorski, with us. Dave, welcome to the Horror Room.
Hey, thanks for having me.
It's a pleasure, man. It's a pleasure. I enjoyed your movie and also enjoyed my interview with the ladies from Horny Teenagers Must Die. It was definitely a blast.
Yeah, that was a fun interview. I watched it live, so it was a fun time.
So tell everyone a little bit about Horny Teenagers Must Die.
Well, it is my love letter to the '80s slasher movies: Friday the 13th, Sleepaway Camp, The Burning, so on and so forth. So it's the story of recent high school graduates who spend a weekend partying up in the woods and end up getting slaughtered one by one by a killer who uses anything from garden tools to sex toys.
Yes.
And
now the title "Horny Teenagers Must Die" it is 100% on par because it's a lot of amazing practical effects gore in this movie. And there's a lot of fucking, there's a lot of sex scenes.
yeah, well, you gotta. It's horny teenagers, so
Yes.
I hate those movies that kind of promise the titillation and then they don't exactly deliver. So it's like I knew that this movie we had to kind of go all the way, basically.
Yes, yes, and I agree with you. Like there's a lot of horror movies out there that you see the poster and it has scantily clad women, and you're like, okay, there's gonna be some titties in this movie, and you watch it, and then there's no nudity at all.
Right? Yeah. Yep. So we definitely deliver on what we promise. So
Now,
there's
now
a little bit for the men and for the men and the ladies. So
yes, there is. Now, how long did it take you to film this movie?
so the majority of the movie we shot over a 2 week period in August of 21. And then we had a couple other scenes, the opening scene, and then a couple other scenes that we had to pick up um, within a day here and there. So it was 2 weeks plus I think maybe like 3 days. So it was a pretty quick shoot.
Wow, and you have an amazing cast in this movie.
Yeah, thank you. They all did a really good job. I'm really proud of them.
Did a great job. I mean, I mean, one thing about a horror movie as a fan, like I like to feel something about the characters. Well, either I love them or I hate them. And this movie gives you that. Like there's some characters that you feel that you love and you feel absolutely bad about what happens to them. And there's some characters you're like, thank God they fucking got it.
Yeah, I actually one of the original drafts was pretty generic, where the characters were basically your cookie cutter, slasher movie tropes, and I had a couple people read it, and they're just like, I don't care about these characters, or they're the same old, same old. So I did another rewrite on the script and kind of gave some characters backstory and some personality, and so I try to make them stand out a little bit more from your typical slasher fare.
And I mean, because the cookie cutter aspect was great in the 80s. Like I grew up in the 80s. I'm a huge 80s fan, the golden
Oh
age
yeah,
of horror. And that was fine. But it seems like, over time, especially movies like Scream, they gave a little bit more character development. The palette of the horror fan has grown. Like we need a little more character development. We need to care about the characters. We need a little backstory.
yeah,
And it's when a horror movie does that, it I mean it knocks it out of the park with a home run.
yeah. I definitely feel the same way. I think in the '80s we were definitely spoon fed the type, and audiences today they demand a little bit more from their horror.
Now, who are some horror filmmakers that you got inspiration from?
definitely, Wes Craven is a big inspiration to me. Cronenberg, Carpenter. So the big three C's:
Yeah.
Craven, Carpenter, and Cronenberg, and then Clive Barker. Um, so those are kind of the big inspirations. I would say Wes Craven definitely is my top. Nightmare on Elm Street was the first horror movie, not that I saw, but the first horror movie that I saw that I could watch without being underneath a blanket. It was the first movie that was like, I I like this stuff. I like horror, so it was big inspiration on me.
After the song with Wes Craven, rest in peace. Definitely my favorite filmmaker. Freddy Krueger is my favorite film character, horror character by far. Definitely love. I mean, he was revolutionary when it comes to horror.
Yeah.
Now, now I understand that this movie. By the way, it was given away in the last interview that this movie definitely had a different title, which was "Die Sluts Die," and it was switched. So, what made you decide to switch the title?
So the birth of Dice Let's Die was back in 2010, 2012, and even though it was just a few short years ago, it was definitely a different era where we were more tolerant of things. So the title Dice Let's Die definitely would not fit in the after Me Too movement.
Yes.
So we definitely felt like we needed to change it, and I didn't want to have some boring generic title. I wanted something that would kind of stand out and grab your attention and everything. So after it was like at least a month or two where I was just trying to going back and forth trying to think of a title, and finally it was Horny Teenagers Must Die. I'm like, that's
No,
it. It
that's
sums
it.
it up.
That's perfect. I mean, listen, it definitely grabbed my attention when Jerome sent me the name of the movie with the screener, and it said "Horny Teenagers Must Die." I was like, yes, I got. I don't know what this movie is, but yes, I accept the interview. I want to see it. This sounds amazing.
We've done conventions where I've sold the movie, and we'll just be sitting there at the table. I don't even have to say anything. People just be walking by and they'll see the title and they're like, "Yep, I want that."
and,
Yeah.
and so I have a question. Why do teenagers must die? Like in horror movies, if you fuck, you're definitely going to die. Why do you think that is?
Well, you go back to the first Scream. Randy sums it up perfectly. It's the sin factor. You can't drink, you can't smoke, you can't have sex. It all you're gonna end up dying. So it's the sin factor. You sin, you die.
Because I mean, if I was a teenager, listen, I wasn't getting laid as a teenager, but if I was a teenager, I still wouldn't make it because I mean, back in the '80s and '90s, I was the black guy, so I would definitely die first. But I was like, even watching your movie, I was like, boy, I was not doing that much fucking in high school. Damn, I must have missed that. Now, when it came to the nudity in your movie, like, was that something hard when you were casting to talk to the actresses and even actors about?
So it was. I posted in the ad that nudity was required, and as I interviewed, auditioned, I brought it up that are you okay with the nudity because that's a big part of the movie. So, and for the most part, everyone knew what they were signing up for, so they were pretty much fine with it. So, and we had a really good intimacy coordinator who made sure that everybody was protected on set. It was a closed set, and just everything was taken care of and done right and in a tasteful way and respectfully. So
And one thing I'm going to say too, Dave, that you did a great job. And
thank you.
you when I say this, you're gonna know exactly what I'm talking about. Like in most horror movies, indie and even mainstream, when they have characters who are playing teenage or college, the actors and actresses they cast definitely look like they're in their 30s. And
Yeah,
and and you did a good job on casting people who actually look young.
yeah. Well, that was one of the requirements. That I put in the ad was that I was looking for people that were over 18, first of all,
Yes, yes, you got to do
um,
that.
but not older than like 25, or if they were over 25, at least looked younger. So, and I did have some people that applied that were like 40, and they're like, I can play a teenager, and it's like, no, you really can't. So, but yeah, so I try to to keep it as close to looking like. And the thing of it is I've heard comments about, oh, these people look 40, and it's like, did you ever see Grease? Because
Yes,
Stockard Channing was not a teenager,
played a mortgage and
yeah, she was like 50 playing a
yes.
17-year-old. So it's like, let's not critique horror movies, that have actors that are, late 20s playing teenagers. So,
Yeah,
but
because I mean, I always wonder, like, I ask filmmakers about them, like, without being mean, like, boy, like, okay, your cast, they look like they're supposed to be what it's supposed to be portraying teenagers, but they look like they have a mortgage or kids of their own. Like,
right,
is
yeah.
it that hard casting people in their early 20s? Like, and I mean, I can't see it being that hard because I feel like majority of, especially indie acting, people are trying to break too are in their early 20s.
Yeah, I think there are. I mean, I did have a big response to the casting call. Um, so a lot of people, and um, a lot of people knew what they were getting. It was a horror slasher movie that was going to involve a lot of sex, and so I it didn't really deter too many people, I don't think.
This movie has a shocking ending, which I'm not going to give away. Was that always going to be the planned ending, or did you have another ending in mind?
No, there was actually a the ending that I had was close. There was another um, revelation that, again, back when I wrote the original script, wasn't as, I don't want to say offensive, but nowadays tend to be more sensitive topic. And so we just felt like changing it was better, so that we didn't kind of get backlash um, on a certain aspect. So I don't really, without giving it away, I can't really go too much into it. But I think if you've seen the movie and you see the reveal, I think you can kind of put two and two together where the original uh, revelation was going. So
Gotcha.
it does involve um, one of the characters that you interviewed last week. So
Okay. Yes. All right. So I keep hearing you saying backlash, backlash. Do you think that the PC culture has ruined filmmaking for filmmakers? I mean, now that you can't really express yourself. You can't really say what you want to say.
I don't want to say ruined, but it's definitely kind of um, curtailed it a little bit, I think. Um, what they got away with back in the 80s, we definitely can't get away with so much now. Even like look at like Ace Ventura, which is, well, that was like 95. Even that would definitely not fly today. So I think, I don't want to say ruined would be the word, but I think it's definitely curtailed some freedom of expression.
But does it hurt? Do you feel like it hurts creativity?
No, I think it just, any kind of opposition to creativity kind of forces you to be creative in other ways.
Yeah.
So like with the ending with this one, we went a different route, and I think it worked out fine. It didn't really affect too much, and it might even have ended up being better in the long run.
Amazing.
the way we went with it now.
Now the one character that I felt um, the worst for in this movie is the poor. I can't forget his character, but he's the
Elliot,
nerdy character.
Elliot,
Yes, Elliot.
Elliot.
I
Yeah.
felt bad for his character. Like he doesn't get laid, he doesn't get love. Like is he the? I think he's the only character in the movie that didn't get any ass.
Only self love, you know.
Yes, self love. Does that count though? Dave, does that count?
Well, you know, in some areas it does. You know, masturbation is a sin. So, um, but yeah, he was just sort of the comic relief and kind of everyone's punching bag, sort of. And I know people are like, why would he even hung out with those people? Well, because you know he's desperate and lonely for friendship. So these guys give him attention, and so he goes with the attention that he gets. So
Yeah, I mean, I felt bad for his girl. I was like, oh wow, they treat that guy like shit. I mean, even though he's weird, they treat him like shit. I'm like,
yeah, you know, but I honestly it was kind of I went through the same thing with my group of friends that I grew up with. They kind of we all kind of bullied each other, you know, but it was I mean I didn't get shot with an arrow,
yeah, no,
but you know, we still kind of we were still kind of mean to each other, and you know, so it was sort of biographical in a way. You know, I think all the characters have a little aspect of me one way or another. Um, Most, if not all, the characters do, and I think Elliot definitely reflected my growing up.
now, were there any kill scenes that you originally had slated for the movie, and for whatever reason you decided not to put in there?
Yeah, we actually had some issues where we had to rethink some kills, unfortunately, due to circumstances. So, um, yeah, there was definitely, especially the Roman spoiler Roman death was not the way it was originally written. Um, so, but yeah, due to circumstances, we had to kind of rethink some some death scenes.
Now, I understand that there is going to. Well, the movie ends at a cliffhanger, so I'm assuming that there is going to be a sequel.
I have ideas for several sequels. There's different ways of taking it. So the most direct sequel that I have in mind is Horny College Students Must Die. So it would pick up with the survivor of this one, you know, in college, and we go from there. But then, you know, there's the other route where we can do Horny Teenagers Must Die Part Two,
Yeah.
Part Three, you know. But yeah, I mean, basically my idea for a franchise was to kind of go down the line, Horny college students, horny grad students, you know, and then you can do all sorts of offshoots, horny, you know, geriatrics,
Yeah.
you know, it goes right down the line.
In the
So
nursing home. And
yeah, exactly. So, you know, and eventually you got to do the space one, you know. So horny
yeah, I think
astronauts
it's in the
must
space.
die. Yeah,
Yes.
you know. So, but I have ideas for the sequel for, like I said, horny college students. I haven't started writing it only because I don't like to jinx myself. So, I mean, I can have ideas for sequels to my movies, but I never start them until there's been some kind of modicum of success. So the verdict is still out on how we do with this one before I decide to start writing horny college students. So, but I do
It's
have
great.
the opening scene in mind. So
Nice. Now, are you guys getting great reviews? I'm assuming so far.
we're getting reviews.
Oh,
I haven't really heard too much actually. You know, IMDb is like the only place that I've really seen any kind of reaction really on that, and there's no user reviews. It's just ratings. So I don't really know. To be honest, I haven't seen. I've seen it maybe one or two interviews that were actually pretty good. So and then the people that get the movie get it and like it. The people that don't get don't get it, um, don't get it, and they don't like it. So it's definitely not for everybody. I'll be the first to admit it's not for everybody. We had a premiere over the summer, and my mom was there, and I was a little bit nervous about her going there and seeing this movie, And at the end, she was just like, "It's a movie." So it's just it is what it is. Not everybody will get it, and it's not for everybody. So, and I knew that going in.
I mean, I definitely enjoyed the movie.
I appreciate that. So you got it.
Yes,
You
I
got
got
what
it,
we're trying for.
but I grew up in that generation where I would have got it. I
Right.
grew up in that '80s slasher genre which there's a lot of slashers are making a comeback, but they are
Yeah.
trying to go away from the '80s scene, which are nudity, cheesy, jock humor,
Yeah.
kills.
Right.
But I think there's certain ingredients to making a successful slasher, and when you start taking those key ingredients out, is it really a traditional slasher?
I mean, what's a traditional slasher? Your definition of a traditional slasher. Is it you've got to have the TNA, you've got to have the blood, you've got to have. I mean, the original Halloween wasn't really bloody.
No,
There was some of the kills were off screen. So and even the original Halloween only had, I think, two shots of nudity. The opening scene,
yep,
Michael's sister, and
PJ Souls.
yeah, exactly. Those were the only ones. So, and that's like the blueprint for modern slasher is Halloween. So I think it was really Friday the 13th, which kind of set the new standard for having TNA and the blood and the sick kills and everything. So
And the campiness to it.
yeah, exactly. So and we're not trying to win any Oscars here. I definitely know it's a low budget slasher movie. So if you go in with that in mind, I think you'll like it.
And also too, for anybody who out there who's like, oh my goodness, I don't like sex scenes in horror movies. The sex scenes in this movie, except for the one in the woods with the guy being bent over, are pretty tasteful. I mean, you know what I mean? They're pretty tasteful. They're not like fucking. It's like actual romantic sex scenes.
Yeah, and there again, that I attribute to Aaron Fitzgerald, our intimacy coordinator, because um, the way I wrote it in the script was basically that they were fucking. So she took the environment and the cast chemistry, and she kind of developed backstory for okay, how long have these characters been together, what's their story, and sort of made it more than just your typical um, sex scene, so it was, and I think that's one thing that helps us stand out from other slasher movies is that it's not just fucking, there's actually tenderness in a couple of the scenes, and it's not just gratuitous nudity. I think they kind of serve a purpose
I
to
agree.
the overall story.
And even the character, I think the name is Roman. He with his girlfriend, like he's a jerk outside of that, but when he's with his girlfriend, like he is like the most caring guy. You can tell that he loves her. Like there's a big reveal in the movie, and he's like totally understanding that no 18-year-old jock in this country would be, understanding, but like, oh my god, that's exciting. I'm down for that. Let's do this, babe. Like,
Yeah,
and
and that kind of came In after the casting and everything, because in the original script of, before I really had personalities going, he was the typical dick jock, who kind of treated his girlfriend like shit, and it was like, okay, well, you know what, let's do something different. Let's have this jock character actually care about his girlfriend, and his first line to her sort of makes you think, oh, he's a dick to her, but and then it totally flips with the second half of his line, because he's like, "What the fuck?" And she's like, "What the fuck? What?" And he's like, "How you get so beautiful every time I see you?" So,
I mean, he's a total dick to everybody else, but to her, he sees her as as his queen.
Yeah, she's his queen, and
Yes.
he treats her like such. So
You don't see that with no high school jock ever.
no,
Ever.
no, not that I can think of.
Yes, especially with the revelation. He's like, I'm cool with this. Like, I'm like, oh my goodness, an 18-year-old, I'll be fucking freaking the fuck out. All right, so Dave, I'm gonna hit you with 3 horror questions. You ready?
Oh boy, I didn't study, but yeah, okay.
All right. What was the first horror film that scared the shit out of you as a kid?
So hold on, my camera's off here. There we go. So I grew up in the age of cable, the advent of cable and HBO playing horror movies, any time of day. And I remember probably being 7 or 8, watching The Entity with my sister. And that movie freaked the shit out of me for the longest time, to the fact point where I bought it on DVD, I think maybe 10-15 years ago, whenever it first came out, when it was finally released on DVD. I didn't watch it for a few years because I was too freaked out to, me, a horror maker, and I'm still scared to watch a movie. But I finally, put it on, and I realized what it was that scared me, and it was that music. Have you ever seen it, The Entity?
Mm-hmm.
That music that happens when the ghost is doing its thing. It's like, and it's like, back to my 7-year-old mind. It's freaky shit, and
It is.
combined with the what's happening. That scared the hell out of me. The Exorcist scared the hell out of me. To the point where I couldn't watch it. And finally, it scared me for the longest time. And then when in 2000, when they released the new version with the extra features, nobody wanted to see it with me. So I'm like, fine, fuck it, I'll go see it by myself. And so I saw it by myself, and I finally was able to conquer my fear of that movie. So now I fall asleep to it. But it's so, yeah, I think anything dealing with demonic stuff kind of is what really kind of freaked me out originally, and still kind of to this day, kind of I have an issue with demons. So Paranormal Activity actually stuck with me for like 3 days after seeing it. So.
I was going to say that Paranormal Activity, even as an adult, fucked me up. Like,
yeah,
Paranormal Activity scared the shit out of me.
Yeah, it like I woke up in the middle of the night freaking out because I thought there was something in my house, and I think it was just a dream I had. But yeah, I mean, but for the most part nowadays, nothing really scares me too much as far as movies go. So
Candyman was the first movie. I watched tons of horror, but Candyman was the first one that really stuck with me and scared me as shit out of me as a kid.
That was good. I saw that one in theaters.
Yeah, fuck out for like nights at freaking the fuck out.
Yeah.
All right. The second question is, all right. When it comes to horny teenagers must die, which character would you say that you're the most alike?
That I'm most alike?
Yes, that you gravitate more. You was like, you know what? I'm more like that character than any other ones.
Well, I mean, like I said earlier, they all I think most, if not all of them, have a little bit of me in them. Um, I, I, I really, Elliot kind of really uh, stands out to me, as me closely relating because, not to that extent, but I was kind of, growing up, kind of, bullied and stuff. So,
Okay.
but I got laid a little bit more than he did. So,
Yeah, and he didn't get laid at all, which I'm like,
yeah.
poor guy.
Yeah, I mean, he might have in the past. I don't know. I
I
don't
don't think
really.
so. I don't think so.
Nah, probably not.
I
He
got no
tries
clue.
too hard for somebody that has. So yeah.
But I thought for sure, and I said in my last one, I thought him and Vibrator Girl were just going to do it. I was like, fuck it. We're the only two single people here. Let's go ahead and fucking do it. But it never happened.
Yeah, no, she was actually pretty disgusted by him, and there was a little bit more in the script. Where they had some more dialogue where she was just like, "Ugh, get away from me." So, but we ran out. I think some stuff got cut. So, but yeah, no, she was definitely disgusted by him. He definitely tried too hard for her taste.
All right. And the final question: what is a underrated horror movie that you love?
Hold on, let me look at. I got some in my collection right here. No, I don't know. Oh man, put me on the spot. I
I
gotta think
know.
of this underrated. I really like. Oh man, I don't know. You got me. We're gonna sign off, and I'm gonna be like that
Yeah.
fucking movie. Why did
I
I say that one?
know.
Shit. What? You know, I
I'm going to give you one. The
okay.
third Blair, the third Blair Witch movie.
The
I thought
third
that
one?
was yes, the third one, which most people haven't even fucking seen that movie.
You
It,
mean Blair Witch, the kind of Force Awakens of Blair Witch movies?
yes,
Because
no,
it's basically the same plot points, but just
it
more
is
characters.
in a bigger budget. I thought I
Yeah,
saw that in the theaters, and I was like, wow, because I was a huge fan of the original Blair Witch, and
yeah.
I bought it on VHS while I was in high school, and then I watched the second one. It was a letdown for me. But the third one, I thought the third Blair Witch was great, and I feel like A, most people haven't seen it, and B, most people who have seen it don't give it any love.
Yeah, I definitely see that. I actually didn't like it the first time I saw it, and then when I watched it again, um, like I said, the Force Awakens of Blair Witch movies because it's basically the same movie, just same plot points,
Yes,
just new characters and stuff. So,
yes.
um, uh, you know, what I think I'd have to go with a Rob Zombie movie. I think Lords of Salem is kind of underrated. I don't think it gets the credit that it deserves because, and I admit, even the first time I watched it, I was like, "What the fuck is this?" Because I think I was expecting a Rob Zombie movie with, just intense bloodshed and everything, and it wasn't. It was very low key to start with, but it's really some really good psychological horror. Um, I actually like Rob Zombie movies for the most part. He's got a good sense of direction in in his stories.
See, I've never been a huge Rob Zombie fan. I do like Devil's Rejects, and I do, which most people look at me crazy. I do enjoy. I'm not saying I love him. I do enjoy his Halloween
Yeah,
movies.
I like
And
his Halloween too. I mean, there again, the second half is basically just a retread of the original,
yes,
but the that first hour definitely is something unique. Do we
not like
need
him
to
part.
do
Yeah,
we need to know why Michael Myers is the way he is? I don't know, but I still like it for what it is. You
it was
know,
different. It was
yeah,
different, and even part two, the second one, it kind of knew that Michael Myers was a man. Like it showed him, like he had a beard, he was living in the woods, and like it was just brought more human aspects to
The director's
Halloween
cut is
than the
definitely a
Michael
lot
Myers.
better than the theatrical cut.
Really,
Yeah.
so I
Um,
might check it out now.
yeah, it kind of puts in some more context and stuff to
Okay.
help explain certain aspects. I think there was more. I haven't watched it in a wicked long time, but I think there was more involved with like his mom and stuff. So
Okay. Yeah, because I heard that I believe it was the Weinstein were on top of that those two projects, and they gave Rob Zombie a lot of shit.
yeah, I heard
And
he did Halloween 2 just to get away from them, like just to
yeah,
shut them up and get away. So, which is probably a smart move on his part. So,
yes. But the
but
Lords of Salem, I watched that the first time. I was like, it seems like a Rob Zombie movie. And then I watched it recently, a couple weeks ago, and I was like, wow, this is a great movie. This might be my favorite Rob Zombie movie.
yeah, during quarantine, I did a Rob Zombie retrospective where I watched all his movies again, and I posted on on Facebook. My original rating of Lords of Salem was like a C minus or something, and I was like, upon the second viewing, I'm giving it an A because
Yeah, I
I
mean,
saw what he was doing and I understood it better. So
I
it was
agree.
like
Like,
Hereditary. I hated Hereditary when I first saw it because I didn't understand what was happening, and then I gave it another watch and I was like, oh, okay, I get it now, and now I like it. So
see, I'm not a huge fan of Hereditary. I'm more of a Midsummer fan than I am a Hereditary fan,
oh,
which I
see,
get
I
mixed looks for.
Midsummer, but they're
I
both
feel
better.
like
They're both better than Mother, though.
yes, because I feel like most people are either Hereditary fans or Midsummer fans. Like,
Yeah,
it's rare that I meet people who are fans of both of those movies, and like I fall in that Midsummer fan. I'm more of a
yeah.
Midsummer fan than Hereditary.
There's a longer cut of Midsummer, but it's only like in Canada or Europe or something. It's not. I don't think they have it in the United States, um, but it supposedly explains a lot more. It adds a lot. I think it's like 3 hours or 3.5 hours or something.
Whoa.
So yeah. So, but I was looking for it. It's on like the A24 website, but it's like $50 or something. I'm like, I don't know. I didn't like the movie
Nah,
that much
I
to.
don't like it that much. Yeah.
Yeah.
Dave, where can
Hey,
everyone find you, my friend?
I am on Facebook. I am on Instagram. Actually, I am on Instagram through Madsy Productions, but also my personal Instagram, Dave Z Makes Movies. And I'm on Twitter, X, whatever the hell it is now,
Thanks,
for
man.
however much longer that lasts. Madsy Productions and the website, madsyproductions.com.
Sweet.
And
Listen,
I've had, just want to throw this out there. A lot of people have said, have asked me because the movie is streaming. Oh, is there a physical media release? There is unofficially. If you hit me up, then I can help you out with that. But
sweet.
yeah, yeah. Otherwise, go to Amazon and check out Horny Teenagers Must Die.
Yes, get over to Amazon right now and watch Horny Teenagers Must Die.
Yeah,
It is, listen, like I said in my other video, if you love gore and fucking, this is the movie for you.
this is the movie for you.
Yes, yes, 100%. Dave, it's been an absolute pleasure to have you on, man.
Hey, it
I
was a pleasure to
definitely
be
would
here.
like to
Thank you.
have. Yes, thank you, welcome, man. I'd love to have you on when part two, part three, or part four comes out, man.
Absolutely, I'd love to do it.
Keep making them, man. Keep doing the good work.
I'm trying, trying.
All right, everyone. Well, thank you for coming to the Horror Room. I'm Travis Bruce. I'll see you guys next time. Take care.